Hello, precious gems. Welcome back to my little tarot corner of the internet. If you are new here, my name is Raven, aka Boyish Empress, and today I'm going to hit you guys with a pick a card reading that is pretty simple. It's basically loving guidance from your spiritual team. So I'm going to tap in to your guidance system, your team of spirits on the other side who help you and love you and want the best for you. And we're just going to see what they have to say to you today. So basically any area of life can come out in these readings. Sort of generalized messages in terms of like what type of thing we're looking into. But yeah, hopefully you leave this reading knowing what your spirit team wanted to convey to you today, and it gives you some guidance and some assurance that you are loved and protected by them, because you are. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. Before we start on the pile selection, if you're new to pick a card readings or you're new to my channel in general, each of these piles contains a different tarot reading. These are collective messages, meaning that they are, obviously since this is public on YouTube, for as many people as are drawn to this. So I'm going to be reading into many energies, but with that being said, you might be surprised how much these messages resonate with you, even though they are for a myriad of different people. I encourage you to use your intuition to the best of your ability when you are choosing these piles, and that is because I want you to get the most accurate reading possible today out of these three selections. So however you like to do that, however you like to feel into your intuition is perfectly valid. If you already know just based on looking at these piles, that's great. Otherwise, I'm going to point each of them out and give you about 10 to 20 seconds to feel into your body and your mind and your spirit to see what is coming through for you, what you're drawn to and what you're not. Okay. So starting off on the left here, this is pile number 1, and on top there we have this crow. Then we have pile number 2 right here with the red jasper. And last but not least, we have pile number 3 with the carnelian. Okay, if you need more time, no worries, just pause the video, take as much time as you need to select a pile, and once you've done so, I will meet you at your timestamp down below. Alright friends, if you chose pile number 3, this is your reading. I usually start with pile 1, but I thought I'd go backwards today, so that's fun. Alright, pile number 3, you chose the red carnelian. This is very strong, punchy, fiery energy of a crystal to start out with. One of my favorites. We love her. But let's just get right into it. Let's get into this loving guidance message reading from your spirit team and your guides. Okay, pile number 3. Let's get right into it. There's a lot of water energy here. So the first thing that your guides are pointing out to me is that you have been going through a difficult emotional time. We're starting with the 4 of Cups, which talks about a certain level of dismissal of spirit or of emotion in general. It could also denote escapism. So I'm also being drawn to the flowers. Let's just look at this up close. So, sorry if you can hear my cats. So we have this figure here who's staring at a cup, but they look vaguely dissatisfied. But what I'm being drawn to is these flowers down below. So I'm getting the message that you are surrounded by beauty. And the beauty has been difficult for you to see and even imagine, I'm hearing. So your guides are showing me an image of you in a field of flowers with your eyes closed. There's almost a fear of experiencing beauty or awe. This is something that you used to be more tuned into than you are right now. But I want you to know that that doesn't mean that you don't have this ability to notice and feel beauty inside of you. It's just lying dormant, is what I'm hearing. Something is lying dormant with that 4 of Cups. Your heart is closed, also, I'm hearing. You've closed up your heart from something, because of something. And then we move into the Knight of Cups, which actually, I don't necessarily feel like this is you. This is someone else trying to give you love. But it's also something that you used to embody and you don't as much anymore. So the Knight of Cups is full of love, almost fanciful. We have Pisces energy there, sort of daydreamy, hopeless romantic vibes I definitely get from that, but it's undeveloped emotionality, if that makes sense. And I do feel like you've had an experience recently with someone who didn't handle your heart with as much respect and reverence than they should have. So there's somebody now who reminds you of what you went through in the past. And they're trying to offer you something. They're trying to offer you love. They're trying to offer you companionship of some kind, but it almost feels frivolous to you. There's the sensation of not wanting to melt into love. There's a sensation of not wanting to jump into things. I think you are perceiving this person as irresponsible, frivolous, and you don't understand if you trust them. You're in this Queen of Wands energy. This is really what I feel like you are bringing to the table. This is your energy. And interesting, once again, we have the flower imagery, but they're within, rather than outside of the figure. So you might not realize the degree to which you are embodying beauty yourself. You might have put the blinders on to beauty around you, but you're still showing up as the Queen of Wands, which is to say you're showing up as someone who is extremely attractive, extremely alluring, extremely beautiful, extremely passionate, which it's funny that you picked the carnelian because once again, it's very fiery, punchy energy. It's Aries energy. It's so interesting. You're attracting many energies right now, but you yourself are closed off. I think maybe you've asked your guides for love, and now the love is starting to come in, and you're realizing, first of all, that you're really picky, okay, which is fine. But second of all, that there's so much baggage attached to opening your heart. And I think this is totally understandable because the Five of Cups is here. So you're not over something. And I want you to know it's okay that you're not over something. Whatever heartbreak that was, whatever this person reminds you of, that person in the past that broke your heart. And I'm getting the image of like fine china. It's like your heart was this fine china and this person dropped it, and there is no going back. There is no going back from it. Your guides are being very patient with you, and they want you to know that you can let love in even if you don't feel ready 100%. So just because you've asked the universe for love, they might bring love into your life, but that love can look a lot of different ways. So you can still set limits with people, and if you don't feel ready to open your heart 100% to another romantic partner, that is okay. And so this is one of the central messages that your guides really want me to impart to you is like, we are not pushing you to heal faster than you are healing. So you are attractive, you are alluring, you are attracting love into your life, but the healing process is happening simultaneously, and I think that is pretty difficult for you. I'm getting that you don't want to heal in another relationship. You're more comfortable healing on your own. You don't want to jump into something else, but Spirit wants you to also know, kind of on the flip side of what I just said about healing at your own pace, Spirit also wants you to know that you can heal in the presence of someone else's love. And in fact, that's sometimes a very healthy thing to do. And it can accelerate healing despite how uncomfortable it can be. So consider it as an option for you. Like, you don't have to open your heart up all the way, but if your heart is a door and it is closed right now, Spirit wants you to crack open the door, okay? Because when you crack open the door, air is still going to get inside, you know? Like, obviously not as fast as if you flung the door wide open, but it's going to get the job done, okay? You need to allow love to trickle in rather than flood in. That's what I'm feeling. Okay, so I have a couple more, just two more cards that will round out the tarot portion of this reading, and then we'll move into the oracle section. So you might feel like your guides are rushing you to heal, but really you are rushing yourself to heal. Okay, no one else has this kind of timeline, this rigid timeline for like when you're supposed to be over something except for you. That's another message that I just got. Okay, let's see what other cards we have here. The World, lovely. And the Nine of Wands. Okay, so interesting. You're hesitant to fully move on. You're hesitant to close this chapter. Why? For some of you, I know that I mentioned that this Knight of Wands was someone new in your life. For some of you, it's the same person. For some of you, that Knight of Wands, that new love that is coming in, it is an ex or an old lover or situationship that's coming up. And the hesitance is coming from not understanding if it's something that can be revived or not. That Nine of Wands, it's like you're clutching. Oh, if that is, okay, so if that's you that I'm talking to, that it's the same person, Spirit is saying, continue to heal, okay? If the new love that is coming in is like new love from an old person, you're actually going to want to be hesitant about that, because the World is here to invite in a new cycle and to end an old cycle. And it feels like you are trying to walk down that path because you're allowing yourself to move through grief. But the Four of Cups is also indecision. Should I stay or should I go? That's what I'm hearing. Try not to focus on the outcome of this relationship and dial in on your heart, because your heart is hurting. It's very likely that it will be difficult to try to heal your heart with the person that broke it. And I'm sorry if that's difficult to hear. But if you feel like something is frivolous on the surface, not deep, and what you want is something deep, long-lasting, and loving, then you're going to want to follow your gut on that, okay? If you feel like you can't move forward with someone, there's a reason for that. Okay, friends, I am going to round out your reading with a couple of cards from the Animal Spirit Oracle, and then we're going to get you out of here, okay? So, pile number 3, what are the final messages from your spiritual team to give you some loving guidance on your journey right now? First one is Phoenix. It's so funny, it tried to come out in the reverse. Lion, are you kidding? Wow. And Mouse. You are not this meek little thing. You are not trapped. You are not powerless. This is who you're moving into right now. Sorry, that was an awful noise. This is who you are moving into right now. I mean, the Phoenix is so clear. So from before, that Queen of Wands was surrounded by water energy. But this is who you are right now. So you have to focus on this energy. Focus on how magnetic you are. Focus on how creative you are, how alluring, how beautiful, how strong, how passionate you are. That's what you're going to want to focus on right now. This water energy, whatever the hell is going on here with your heart, it's all noise. It's stuff that has to pass through you. This is not the time to make a big decision, also, is what I'm hearing. You have to let these things pass through. I almost see this whole thing as one relationship. The person who broke your heart right here, your grief around it, and your indecision. Should I go back to them? Should I keep them in my life? Stop it. Like, I just want to take them and push them out. Okay? You should not be focusing on that right now. What you need to do is feel your feelings. What you need to do is cry, alright? Is to let your tears cleanse you so that you can clear all that excess energy and come back to who you truly are. And interesting that the only other Wands card that came out earlier is that Nine of Wands, that hesitance. That hesitance. I feel like you're hesitant to go back into that situation, and it's for a good reason. I think your intuition is telling you that. Your spirit team wants you to rise from the ashes, and in order to rise from the ashes, you have to let yourself burn down. You have to let that destruction take place so that you can revive into a new chapter. That's really what your reading is about, pile number 3, so that you can center into this power once again. Fire. This is who you are, the lion. Extremely powerful, extremely respected, extremely regal. This point in your life right now is very much about centering back in on your true essence. Who were you before this person broke your heart? Who were you before you closed your heart up to love? Somehow focusing on yourself and focusing on your passions and focusing on building your own confidence is the key to this next chapter. Just like let it go. Also, this one is a simple message that I'm hearing. Just like let that shit go. What you went through. Maybe it didn't feel justified, but you're closer to moving on from it than you think. Alright, pile number 3, that is your reading. I hope that you enjoyed this and got something out of it. If you did, please hit the like, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I really appreciate you tuning in, and yeah, I'll see you the next time that we're doing tarot together. Have a good rest of your day or night. Bye! Hi friends, if you chose pile number 2, this reading is for you. Welcome to a reading of loving guidance from your spiritual team. Let's just get right into it. I am using the Uncommon Tarot for the tarot portion today, and we're just going to get right into it. So what do your guides need me to tell you today? What is the juice? What is the story? So let's just get started. I had to cover some nudity just in case from that card. Alright, so we have 5 of Swords, Justice, the Alchemist, the Wise One, Page of Cups, and the 4 of Coins. So the first thing I'm hearing from your spirit team is they know that you've been fighting. They know that you have been working really hard on restoring justice in your life. You've been working really hard on transforming difficult circumstances and gleaning some sort of wisdom and you've also been dealing with mental blockages and difficulties relating to moving on. Let me just take a second to see what this is really about, see if I can get some specifics. Okay, so I'm hearing planning is futile. I'm hearing humanism. Okay, this is a very scattered group. I feel many energies going on. So there is tension between you and the universe, but it's only because you are trying to force something that is happening naturally. So it's kind of like canceling each other out. You have been so deeply desiring a closer connection to spirit, and what you're not understanding is that you are inherently spiritual and you don't have to reach or kind of like muscle your way towards a deeper connection to spirit. So your spirit team wants you to feel connected, but they want you to know that it is already something that's inside of you. It's just something that needs to be unlocked. So if we look at the Wise One card here, this is the Hierophant in this deck. And I'm really drawn to those keys. I'm really drawn to those keys and seeing them open this metaphorical door of wisdom and spirituality. I feel this inclination that you don't feel like you're spiritual, but you are. You don't feel like you have achieved this nice balance between logic and intuition with the mundane and the magical, but you have. The only thing keeping you from truly feeling the extent of that exploration is your refusal to let go of a belief that to be spiritual you cannot be attached to earthly things. So I'm getting that you are more of a logical person. Maybe your job is logical. I'm hearing engineer. The word logic is just playing over and over in my head. So you are connected to logic and areas of the mind, but it can get out of whack. And you're learning how to incorporate your intuition more and more. Maybe that's what you feel like you were missing, the other side of it, which is the intuition, which is basically the opposite or the counterpart to logic. I'm not sure why you feel unbalanced, to be honest, because the message overall is that you're doing much better than you think in terms of reaching some sort of spiritual goal. I think you just want to learn more about yourself. What's interesting is I've been reading this book called The Spirituality of Imperfection, and one of the things they talk about is how the more we try to do something, the more it can escape our grasp. So in some instances, the more you try to reach something spiritually or kind of like tug at it, the less you'll feel connected to it. So I think that you're having to do some development on believing that you are inherently spiritual and that it is already a part of you. It's just something that you're learning more about. And another thing that is mentioned a lot in that book is I keep losing it. Why do I keep losing it? There's already a well of spiritual information inside of you. It's something that as a human being we all have, and we carry it from life to life. And you can certainly, okay, I remember what I was going to say. You can certainly explore, but don't think of the spiritual explanation as a means to an end. So what I wanted to mention before is that this book talks about how the exploration of spirituality is the presence of spirituality. Anytime you come to a point in your journey where you feel like you have spirituality figured out, you've lost the essence of it. You're no longer engaging with it. Because spirituality is not definite. It's not one thing. It's not certain. It is an exploration itself. To be spiritual is to embark on a journey of spiritual exploration. So another way you could put that is like, there is no destination to a spiritual life. It is a constant unfolding, and you have to keep choosing it and continue to open yourself up to it in order to embody it and to have some sort of access to it. So your guides want you to know that you're not supposed to understand exactly what spirituality is. Your very desire to explore is what makes you spiritual. So I hope that you can take that with you. The curiosity, the thirst for knowledge, the journey that you take yourself on, that is what spirituality is about. I think you're seeing it from a logical perspective, which is to say, I don't know anything about this, so how can I be spiritual? Where do I even start? But to follow the intuition is to not understand where it's taking you and to go anyway. It's to commit only to the unfolding of the thing and not the destination of the thing or like wrangling a thing. So that Four of Coins energy, there's no way that you can cling on to spirituality in that way. And it's okay if you feel that sensation. It's a natural desire to want to be a master at something, but there is a lot of power in not knowing. And that, I think, is something that your spiritual team is trying to get you to learn. It's that you don't have to be a master to do something, and there are a lot of benefits to being a beginner. There are a lot of benefits to having more questions about something than there are answers. So I hope that is helpful. This was a very spiritual reading. I really just get that this is about your exploration of self and wanting to lead a more spiritual life, a transformational life, a creative life, and a balanced life, to move from a state of being in your head all the time into other areas of the body and other kind of realms, balanced with the earthly realm. So it's kind of heady. I feel like you could be a Pisces or an Aquarius, just two things that I'm getting from the energy I'm feeling here. But you could also be a Libra or a Taurus. All right, pile number 2, I am going to move these cards aside and I'm going to move into the final portion of your reading, which is an oracle, which is a couple of animal oracle cards. So let's see, what are your final messages here from your spirit team? Got shark, camel, and frog. Yeah, okay. So both camel and frog are talking about balance. Camel is balance of water and fire, and frog is balance of water and earth. So once again, this idea of balancing two different elements or things, you're doing a good job at it. I don't think that you have an accurate representation of your journey at this point, but you will in retrospect. You're able to live in two places at once, okay? Which is to say, you're able to be here on Earth being a human, but you're also able to incorporate that more non-physical, heavenly, divine energy, even as you are doing earthly mundane things. So any activity that combines both of them is going to be great for you. Like doing anything with magical intention, cooking, you know, a lot of people love to do morning coffee or tea with spiritual intentions, even taking medicine with spiritual intentions, cleaning your house with spiritual intentions. There are so many ways for you to kind of infuse spiritual energy into your day that keep you feeling connected to that magical energy, and that there is energy beyond what you can see while you are continuing to take care of the more mundane things like having a human body, you know? And the shark, I feel like there's just such a looming anxiety around your spirituality, and spirit, I think, is placing situations in your way coming up that allow you to face that fear. So this isn't a bad thing, and it's not going to be like devastating or anything like that, but if you feel this sense of dread, know that it's going to be lifted from you, but it's going to be lifted through the act of you moving through an uncomfortable feeling around your spirituality. So there's some tests coming up. You're gonna do fine, you're gonna do great. I really feel like you are perfectly ready for what these situations have in store. But try to work through that perfectionism, because I think that's what it's really coming from, this anxiety. It's like trying to shape something into the perfect thing when it's always going to be amorphous and difficult and fleeting, and it's ever changing. So trying to ride the wave and dealing with things moment by moment is going to be a lot more sustainable than just trying your best to grasp something that's ungraspable. And it's going to be okay. Take it day by day. Focus on the fact that you're on a journey, you're on a voyage, whether that is a physical voyage or internal, a spiritual voyage, and know that like you have your entire life to be a spiritual person. It's a way of being and living. It's not something that you necessarily do. It's not like an activity, but it can include activities. It's I don't know why, but I'm getting like it's a radio channel. Like you just have to turn the dial and allow yourself to listen to what is coming through. but don't be afraid to turn the dial. Pile number 2, that is what your spiritual team, your spiritual family had to tell you today. I really hope that it was of some comfort to you and that you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please give me a like or subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos. I really appreciate you tuning in, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day or night. Take care. This is pile number 1. If you chose pile number 1, welcome to your reading. This is more generalized guidance from your spiritual team. Whatever they want to bring up today is what we're going to talk about. So let's just get right into it. You chose the only animal totem that I used for this video, which is the crow. So perhaps you're seeing signs or synchronicities that have to do with the crow, or you just feel attracted to it. Okay, I'm starting off with the uncommon tarot today. That's what we're going to use for our tarot portion. Let's just jump right in. Let's see what your spirit guides need you to know. Starting off strong with the Queen of Coins there. The Wheel of Fortune, the Knight of Swords, and Awakening. Okay. Let's see how that looks. Okay, pile number 1. I think we're going to start there. I have a few more tarot cards, but we'll just read what's out on the table right now. You are showing up as the Queen of Coins. This is also hitting me as you have a mirroring energy to someone else on your spiritual team. I feel that this is an ancestor. A motherly figure doesn't have to be a mother. It's someone that you always hear, that your family always tells you that you remind them of this person. So whether or not you've ever met them in real life, I'm not sure. It feels like no for most of you, but you remind everyone around you of this person, and it's because you carry so many traits of this person. There's a unique beauty to you is what I'm hearing. Specifically, your ancestors are coming through very strongly. So they're wanting me to talk about your physical appearance. If you have been feeling insecure about your beauty, your ancestors are like shocked that you would even have anything negative to say about your physical appearance. That is how beautiful you appear to them. So that's the first thing that they really want me to talk about, which is interesting. They're saying it's not vain to acknowledge your beauty. So I feel this resistance from you to step into confidence around your physical appearance, and your ancestors are like taking this very, I don't know, they're very, how do I describe it? You might be Greek or Italian, and this is just coming from my own personal experience because I have a lot of Italian family members that I grew up around, but there's this very like big, comforting, larger than life energy to them. It's almost like they want you to, if you have, okay, so this is a trigger warning for body image and weight, but they don't want you to worry about your weight. That's very specific. I hope that resonates for you, and that this is not just something that I'm speaking out of my ass about, but they think that you're so beautiful And there's nothing that can change about your body that would make you not beautiful. They want to drill that home. They see you as this queen of coins. I'm gonna put my finger over this because we got a little nip action going on. But they see you as this queen of coins. They see you as so abundant, as so beautiful. They see you as a queen, and you don't have to be a feminine person, but they just see you with this royal energy. So you carry attributes physically from a very important figure in your family, and both of you are highly regarded in your spiritual line, in your family. So very interesting message to come through. They just want to let you know that they find you so unbelievably gorgeous, and they wish that you would walk through the world with consciousness of that beauty. And that doesn't mean that you have to take advantage of people or situations, but it just means that you walk through the world with acknowledgement of your value, and this is value within and it's also value without. So very important that I was supposed to get that across to you, okay? They're just saying that you're gorgeous, you're gorgeous. My coffee is so good right now. So maybe coffee also is something that has been really important for your family. Maybe that's you've shared like interesting memories with them. Okay, so moving on here. That wheel of fortune energy. You might have fixed placements very heavily in your chart. That is Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo. The next thing that they're wanting to talk about is that you don't need to fear what is unfolding right now. What is happening is not necessarily true to... Okay, so things are very subject to change right now, is what I'm hearing with the Wheel of Fortune. And I think that you've gone through many circumstances recently that have a double-edged sword sort of meaning. So there are situations that have awakened you spiritually and given you a sense of perspective, but they've also kind of stripped the comfort from you. And your spirit team is wanting to acknowledge that you're doing a very good job sort of riding the wave of the changes that have been occurring. Your spiritual team wants to let you know that change is supposed to sort of rattle the foundations that have already been set, because when you're following a spiritual path and when you're working with your spiritual team, they're never going to break something apart that is not going to be improved by... Okay, let me rephrase that. They're never going to break apart a foundation that was not sturdy. Does that... No. Oh my God, I can't speak. They're never going to break apart a foundation that was sturdy, and they're not going to demolish a situation in your life that was good for you and good for your growth. Okay, so whatever changes you're going through right now, they want you to relinquish your worries. They want you to speak to them about your worries and think of that process as a sort of exorcism of the worries from your body. So if you want to connect to your spiritual team but you're having difficulties doing so, it can be as simple as sitting down in a comfortable place and just talking out loud to them. And I know that that can feel really vulnerable, which is why we have to have some sort of foundation of safety in the physical space. But this is one of the reasons why we create altars and sacred spaces, okay? So I feel like you either have an altar. For some of you, you have an altar and you don't go to it. For others of you, you're nervous to make an altar and you've been putting it off. Your team wants you to make an altar if you have not already. And if you've made an altar and you don't go to it, you have to figure out why you're not going to it, okay? Because they can't connect to you until you kind of open the channel to let them come in and talk to you. And it, like I said, it can be as simple as sitting at that altar space and just talking out loud, okay? So another important thing that they wanted me to bring up is you need to start considering what a sacred space means to you and how you can successfully incorporate a sacred space into your life. Because whether or not you do that, your spirit team is looking out for you, okay? They are in your life. But I feel the sense that you want a deeper connection. And if that is the case, then you have to think of it as almost like humanize them. And obviously for your ancestors, they were human. You know, at one point they were here on earth just like you were. But you have to think of them like they're here, in the sense that you're like allowing yourself to sit in the moment and talk with them, which again, I know can be vulnerable, but it is an important step for you to relinquish some worry around what is happening in your life right now and anchor into faith that it is going to be okay, and that you are supported, okay? They want you to feel their support, and you're gonna feel it much deeper if you start to nourish that connection, if that makes sense. Also hearing you are the main character of your life. With that Knight of Swords, you are the person ultimately who you need to check in with about any decisions that you are making. You obviously, your choices affect other people, but there is a need to center back in on what you would like to do at any given point in time. So channeling that main character energy is going to be helpful for you right now. So if it wasn't clear already, you are going through another awakening right now. And this time around, they don't want you to feel like you're doing it alone. So that's why I'm bringing up all of the altar stuff and the ways of connecting that you can do. And it doesn't have to be just talking. So some of the other ways that you can connect, writing to them, you know? If you don't want to speak it out loud, you could write a letter. You could, if you are an artist, you could create a piece of art. Any way that you can communicate as a human being is a way that you can communicate to spiritual beings, okay? So any sort of expression or even activity, these are all gestures that you can point towards a connection with any spirit that you are wanting to bond with, okay? So just keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be, and it shouldn't feel like it's so unbelievably far away, that these spirits are so unbelievably far away. You have to start understanding that they can interact with you in real time. You just have to be open to it, and you have to let them respond whenever they're going to respond, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna move things up and continue your tarot portion. I think we've got like a few more cards from tarot, and then we'll jump into oracle. Okay, so we're just expanding on these current messages for the spirit teams of pile number 1 choosers. What else do they need to know? So we got more swords energy, Page of Swords right there. Death, yeah, that makes sense. And the Hanged One. Okay, absolutely. So like I was saying about the Wheel of Fortune and awakening, this new awakening that you're going through, you're having to deeply surrender to the change that is taking place with Death and the Hanged One. And this is going to feel uncomfortable for you, and I'm sorry. I know firsthand how uncomfortable it is to surrender to the divine, but it's only uncomfortable at first because you are clinging so hard. Once you learn how to soften your grasp, and you sort of have that free fall moment with the Hanged One, where you are no longer attached to your current perspective, and you start opening up to different perspectives and opening up to different outcomes that the divine can kind of place into your life, you start to feel more security, even though you're kind of in free fall mode. Okay, so there is security to be found in letting go. It's not like you're letting go and you're just completely unsupported. Picture yourself letting go of the attachment to the outcome, but you're letting go into support of the divine. So yes, you're saying, okay, I don't know what's going on here, but I trust that there's something bigger than me that is working with me. I have to surrender to know that, like, in this moment, I am just a human and this feels so much bigger than my humanity. So I will surrender it to the divine and let the divine figure it out. You can also conceptualize that as a relinquishing of the responsibility. Okay, so if you are really stressed about the changes that are happening in your life right now, you can just give it up to God. Just give it up to God, you know, and feel the pleasure in that, and feel the freedom in that, where you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. It's like delegating a task at work. Okay, if you're really overwhelmed by a certain project at your workplace and you're like, I just don't think that I'm the person for this job, you give it to another group of coworkers. And then they will work it out and they'll give it back to you, and then suddenly it's done. And you're like, oh, okay, I didn't have to do that at all. It's kind of like that. It's like, maybe you're not the guy for this job. Okay, you don't have to be a guy. I'm just saying guy, like gender neutral guy. They're cooking up something that is hard to understand. So you're just so loved. You're so loved. I need you to know that the other side of this change is deeply beautiful and deeply aligned to you. So whatever's ringing a bell about like surrendering and giving it up to God, it's gonna turn out so much better than you could have imagined by letting the divine handle it. Maybe this is the first time that you're gonna do something like that and be like, I'm giving it up to God. But don't let the dread overtake you about that. Just actually try to let it go in your body. And you can use affirmations for that. You know, you can just say, I give this up to the divine. I'm not the man for this job. My spiritual team is gonna figure this out for me, and it's gonna turn out so much better than it would if I stayed spiraling in my mind trying to figure out a solution on my own about it. All right, pile number 1. We're gonna move into your final messages, which are animal spirit messages, and these are gonna lead you to the end of your reading, okay? First message, bear, owl, wow, and hyena. Okay, pile number 1. Very strong animals here, especially with that owl. Okay, so with the bear, you are emerging out of a season of hibernation. So this could be, I feel like it's double-sided again, okay? So you're emerging into spring physically, but also on a metaphysical level. I really feel strongly, though, that the bear is saying that you are emerging from being spiritually asleep to something. So you're waking up, okay? You're emerging into a spring, into a season of awareness about something related to your spirituality. and you have to be willing to let that hibernation mode go. You have to be willing to acknowledge that it is time for you to emerge out of hibernation and gain awareness of your surroundings again. And the owl is literally talking about clairvoyance, literally talking about spiritual sight. So I love to see these two together, especially because the bear is literally facing the owl, okay? Facing this new journey and allowing things to surface, allowing information, allowing new solutions, also I'm hearing, to surface into your life. But this is all through the power of spirituality. This is metaphysical. So there also with death, there is a falling away of other more certain ways of living that are all about what is happening in the physical life, and there is an emergence of the metaphysical and the unseen. But you're actually getting very good at understanding the mystery. Understanding the pursuit of the mystery is the most important part. With hyena, your guides are letting you know that it's important to stay optimistic and to not fall into patterns of cynicism. You're being required to face away from old ways of being, and one of these ways is a reliance on humor, cynicism, or sarcasm to sort of justify the things that you're going through and justify the difficulties in your life. You're being asked to step into humility instead of cynicism. You're asked, so what I mean by that is you're being asked to step into a sense of being truthful about where you are in every moment and not needing to mask it with a sense of, oh, it's totally fine, I'm just falling apart over here. You know, that sort of almost masochistic, I'm hearing, sense, but it's a sense of humor. It's something that you use to communicate to other people that you're suffering. And Spirit wants you to lean more into honesty about how you are suffering, because there's nothing that you could go through that another human being won't find the humanity in. Like, you don't need to mask it. You don't need to be okay all the time is really, I think, what the hyena is about. It's like owning the ways that you feel uncomfortable right now, owning the things that don't feel good in your life right now. It's important for you to go through a phase of taking stock of the things that are not working in your life. Being truthful, being upfront and open about these things will not only help you process them better than masking them with humor, but it will also open vulnerability in your relationships, which will also help you deeply at this time. All right, pile number 1. I feel like I'm going over time right now, but that's only because I really enjoyed your reading and felt very tuned in to the messages that I was giving you today. But I am going to stop it now. I want to tell you that I am excited for you to bust open these new perspectives and pursue a life of deep, integral spirituality and sight. And your spiritual team is very strong, so just want to remind you of that they came in super clearly throughout this reading, more so than the other readings that I did for this video. All right, pile number 1, thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, got something out of it, or appreciated the way that I showed up today, please leave me a like. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Take care of yourself. Bye.